Hello class 9. In chapter 1, unit 1, we are discussing some principles of object oriented programming. In today's class, we are going to discuss keywords related to object oriented programming. Now, what is an object? It is a unique entity. Object is a unique entity which contains data and functions. Here data means characteristics and functions means behavior. Function means behavior together in an object-oriented programming language. So once again, what is an object? Object is a unique entity which contains data and function. It contains the word data and function together in an object-oriented programming language where data means characteristics and function means behavior. Second is, what is the real world object? What is the real world object? Okay, the objects that we experience or use in our day-to-day life. Each real-world object contains characteristics and behavior like mango, like orange, like chair, like car. So that we experience in our day-to-day life. So these are called real-world objects. Okay, the characteristics basically comprises the parts of its body or specification, how it is made above. Whereas behavior refers to the purpose of its function. So that was the real world object. Next is, what is a software object? What is the software object? A software object may be defined as an object that is created while writing a Java program. The software object is created while writing a Java program. When we compare a software object with the real world object, then the characteristics and behavior of real world objects are referred to as data members. It is referred as what members? Data members and member methods of the software objects respectively. Okay. Now next topic is, what is a class? The class is blueprint to write the Java program. It is template. The class is a template or a blueprint for similar type of objects. Each object of a class possesses some attributes and common behavior as defined within the class. So a class is also referred to as blueprint or prototype of an object. It is also referred as what? Blueprint or prototype of an object. So these are the keywords related to object-oriented programming: object, real-world object, software object, and class. Now, what are the basic principles of object-oriented programming, OOP? Mainly there are four: data abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. Now see, you use the TV or refrigerator or micro oven, but do you know the background details of it? Or we use the laptop, but we don't know the background details of it. We use these things without knowing the background details. So it is known as data abstraction. Data abstraction is an act of representing the essential features without knowing the background details. And it is always relative to the purpose of the user. Okay, so we use the technology. Just we know how to operate it. You do not know detail. For example, a digital camera is used to capture a photograph. It simply provides a number of buttons and switches to control the operations needed to take the photograph. In fact, these buttons make the working so easy that anybody could operate the camera even though he or she may not be aware of the technology and background of it. That's how it is manufactured. Okay. Next topic is inheritance. The next principle is inheritance. Now what is inheritance? The term inheritance means to link and share some common properties of one class with another class. So we can link one class with another class and share the common properties. This can be done by extending a class into another class and using both. So this can be done how? By extending a class into another class. Okay. So it is just like heredity in biology. You have studied the heredity in biology, which means the transmission of generally best characteristics from parents to the offspring. The same way, a class transfers its property from parents to child class. Okay. We inherit thousands of characteristics from our parents, who in turn had inherited those from their parents, and so on. So similarly, a class acquires some properties from another class. This is possible by deriving a new class from the existing class. So related to this, we have got two terms, that is the base class or superclass and derived class or subclass. So what is the base class or superclass? The class that gets inherited to another class. A class which is inheriting to another class is known as base or the superclass. And what is the derived class or subclass? The class that inherits from a base class is known as the derived class or the subclass. The class that inherits from a base class is known as the derived class or subclass or target or child class. Like take an example of a class animal, which can be broadly classified like carnivorous and herbivorous. So we'll find that some of the characteristics or properties of this animal will be inherited by the classes carnivorous and herbivorous. Okay, so this principle is called inheritance. Next is polymorphism. Poly means many. The term polymorphism is defined as the process of using a function or method for more than one purpose. One function or method is used for more than one purpose. Okay. You know that a single word can have many meanings. Similarly, an operation may show an entirely different behavior for a different. For example, an English word duck. For example, an English word duck. The word duck defines a water bird with a broad bill, short legs and webbed feet, whereas the same word duck in a cricket match means a batsman who got out with no score, got out zero, bowled on zero. So the word is duck only, but it has got a two meaning. One is the bird, one is the cricket one. Okay. So related to this, we have a term function overloading. What is function overloading? Function overloading is a technique to use number of functions with the same name but having different parameters. Like suppose a function name is area. So it could be area of a square, area of a rectangle, area of a circle, area of a rhombus. So we have different area. So it is example of function overloading. Okay. Now the last principle is encapsulation. See, the system of wrapping data and functions into a single unit is known as encapsulation. What is encapsulation? The system of wrapping data and functions into a single unit is known as encapsulation. Encapsulation is a feature of OOP which restricts the flow of data from one object to another. The data and functions are wrapped together in an object such that the data can only be accessed in the associated functions. Okay. So the encapsulation is helpful in object-oriented programming in the following ways. The source code of an object could be maintained independently, and the object maintains the privacy of the data members. Now we have some benefits of OOP. First, the reusability of the program code is enhanced. Reusability can be reused. The software quality and performance are improved. Modularity is achieved. Data abstraction makes the software easier to handle. And software for complex tasks can be easily be developed. At the same times, we have some limitations of object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming languages require intensive testing processes, and solving problems is more time consuming as compared to procedure oriented programming. So this was the last topic of this chapter. In this chapter we learned about the different types of computer languages. We learned about the principles of OOP. So learn these terms. Thank you.